Center for Spiritual Living, Delaware. Good morning, dear friends, and everybody who is gathered today to be with us. This, I am definitely feeling the unity and the love for all of you. This year's theme is 2020 Spiritual Vision. Our theme for October is Cosmic Connection. Have you ever wondered what collective consciousness, the unified field, and zero-point energy have in common, and how this can change your idea of all levels of relationship? Today's topic is Inextricably Connected. Our title today is inspired by a quote from Brene Brown. Spirituality is recognizing and celebrating that we are all inextricably connected to each other by a power greater than all of us. And that our connection to that power and to one another is grounded in love and compassion. Hallelujah. Let's speak our affirmation together. Today, do we have the affirmation? Today I celebrate that we are all cosmically connected to each other by a power greater than all of us. I allow that power, God, to reflect through me as love, wisdom, generosity, and compassion. And it comes back to me multiplied. Woo! And with that, I welcome, and we all welcome the most loving, beloved, radiant Reverend Kathleen.
Oh my gosh. Thank you, Jenny. Oh, one great big ball of love, isn't she? Beautiful light of God. Thank you, Jenny, for being who you are. Okay, so the topic today, inextricably connected. Say that 3 times quickly.
Inextricably connected.
Inextricably connected. Inextricably connected. Inextricably connected. I can't do it. Oh well. It's a powerful topic. It is so important that we really understand what this particular word, inextricably. What it means is something that is impossible to separate. And it's a reminder of this truth of our being. And I have a story to tell you about that. It's a story about 2 little fishes who were actually very young fishes who were swimming in the cosmic sea. And a wise elder fish came swimming along, and he was kind of a Zen, master fish. And so he comes up and he loves to pose these questions that really make the young fish think. So his favorite one is, how's the water today? And normally when he asks that question, the little fish have no clue because they, just don't realize they're in water. It's just simply something that's all a part of what they're in. And so, so he, he's waiting, and he's just sure that they're not going to be able to answer it. But one little fish has been studying spiritual principles, and he has been doing his meditation and prayer practices, and so he's ready. He's ready for this question. And so his response is, it's pretty murky, to be honest with you. And the currents are shifting. I love this story because what it speaks to is that the wise also notice when things are out of order so that we can deal with them, and also aware of the shifts and the changes, the undercurrents that are taking place. analogy or metaphor for what's going on in our world today. The murkiness of divisiveness, the murkiness of struggle and strife and conflict, the murkiness that shows up as pollution on our planet. Although I have to say, having us be socially isolated has really helped reduce some of that pollution. And some of the awakening that's taking place all over the planet has certainly helped many of us become more conscious about how we dispose of things, more recycling and more reclaiming of things that were normally considered just something to throw away. So this whole thing of murkiness and shifting currents is very integral to our discussion today about being inextricably connected, not only to the divine, that cosmic seed that surrounds us and fills us, that we are often not even aware of it when we go throughout our day. And yet, I'm clear that more and more and more of us are aware of the shifts and changes that are taking place in the direction of the highest good of all, and are moving ourselves into alignment with those shifts.
Good.
Inextricably connected, impossible to separate. So here we are. We are swimming in this cosmic sea. The scientists would call it zero-point energy, the unified field. We call it the unified field of all possibility and all potentiality. The study of quantum physics gives us a sense of how interconnected everything is, how our thoughts collapse energy into form. This awareness, this broader-based awareness of our inextricable connection with all life, with the divine as all life, the life is so palpable and available to us now. And so I think that this is going to be a time that we will look back on and go, wow, things were really breaking down before the amazing breakthrough. So this idea of murkiness, let's look at this a little bit more. The murkiness of divisiveness, hatred, struggle, conflict. Even though there is this awareness on some level of the interconnectedness and interdependence of life, isn't it interesting that humans continue to divide themselves into tribes of all different kinds, all different forms? Nations, states, and we're seeing on TV, militias, self-made militias, and things like that. And why is that? It comes from something called the consciousness of scarcity. That's a very murky consciousness. It's based on the idea of not enough, there's not enough to go around, and therefore we need to band together and either keep or get our stuff. We know that this doesn't work. We know that the only road to true thriving, and by the way, that's the survival paradigm, the true way to thriving is something different. It's an awareness that there is more than enough, especially when we work together and collaborate and come up with new ways of working together. Recently, we've been watching something on Netflix called Down to Earth. And in it, it's just a whole series of things going on in different countries where people are working together and collaborating. But I was really struck by the most recent one that we saw, which was about Puerto Rico. and the mayor, Maria, her name is Maria, the amazing inspiration that she is in taking the people around to see the collaboration that's taking place among the people. And one of them was, it was a bed and breakfast that had, before the hurricanes even hit, put together a network of solar panels. And that particular neighborhood, when everything was down and there was no electricity, had hooked all of the different solar panels in the whole neighborhood together and provided electricity for all of their neighbors who didn't have it in that area. Collaboration and cooperation, not I'll keep mine to myself kind of thinking. That's what's really called for, isn't it? So we thrive as humanity. The new paradigm is thriving through collaboration and an awareness that things like white supremacy and consumerism that leads to so much waste, and gender inequity, and all of these other topics are something that we must face. We must face the murkiness in consciousness in order to transform it, in order to move into solution. And I'm so grateful to be a part of a spiritual community that not only teaches this idea of inextricable connection or oneness with each other, the interdependence that's inborn into this system, the spiritual system that we are part of, this cosmic sea. So we not only have the teachings to back us up, but we also are moving into action. You know, Michelle got us started on learning about ways that we could recycle, and recycling things we didn't even know we could recycle. And if you have any questions about that, please contact me and I'll make sure that Michelle will get you the information. She actually has a website on it that is really a gift to the community. So we're committed. We're a community committed to sustainability. We are a community that's committed to social justice. We have a social justice initiative team. Our team, led by Jen and Virgie, is now meeting every fourth Sunday after service for a lunch and learn, where we can continue to awaken to and face the issues that are going on so that we can be the presence of solution. That's the purpose of all of it. If you don't know about it, then you're not able to do anything about it. And Peace Week Delaware, that wonderful, wonderful event that we co-created that took place last week, is our commitment to building a culture of peace. We are collaborating with people all over our state who work with Peace Week Delaware to build a culture of peace among all of us. I am envisioning a day in which we become the model for people to follow. All of us who are collaborating in the state of Delaware, that the city of Wilmington has been transformed from what was called the murder city to this amazingly peaceful area. I'm claiming that for us. We have that vision, and it's not just our community; it's communities all over the state of this beautiful state of Delaware. So this idea of connecting with others, and getting beyond this idea of divisiveness and separation, this idea of building a wall around ourselves to protect ourselves. We know that in order to collaborate to truly collaborate, that we must develop deep connections with others. And research, this is no surprise to any of us, I'm sure. Research shows that connecting with others is good for our moods and good for our mental and physical health, our emotional health as well. And psychologist Abraham Maslow, the creator of the hierarchy of needs, places the need to belong, that's the need for connection, second to our basic survival needs. Second, it's so vitally important that children who receive that important connection from their caregivers of love and compassion are able to thrive as adults. And those who don't, well, we can help all of the rest of us along too through this beautiful teaching that is based on love and compassion. So connecting with others, what is really connecting with others like? What are some of the things that we notice? And so the first one I have is that we are fully present to the other person, fully present. That means our mind is not ruminating on how wrong we were done in the past with someone else or with this particular person, or worries about how things might be in the future. Instead, we are fully present with the person who's right in front of us. The next way that we know that we're really connecting with others is that we feel open and available to them. And we sense that they are open and available to us. So there's this real flow of caring and compassion between us. Another element of knowing that we're really connected with others is that we are being present to ourselves, and therefore being ourself and sharing ourself with the other person, which means we have to give up the idea of getting something from the other person, getting approval, those kinds of things that end up being roadblocks to relationship. The next element is that we notice that we are trusting the other person enough to share something deeply troubling us so that we can receive love and support. And the fifth element then is that we feel empathy and kindness toward the other person. So that means things like anger and meanness and judgment and criticism close down connection. I know we've all been there at some time or another. Either we've done it or somebody else has done it. But it's really time to realize that those ways of relating really don't work. That kindness and compassion, even when we're in conflict, when we have disagreements, is so important to deep connections with one another. So forming these deep connections with one another is where we start. And then it expands. We learn how to collaborate, how to work together more effectively. So I'd like to give an example of the kinds of thinking that, that the divisiveness or even just the judgment or just a lack of awareness of what certain things mean that get in the way of our relationships. Right now in our practitioner training, we're reading a book by psychotherapist Thomas Moore that's called Care of the Soul. And I thought that this story was really pertinent to today, a great example of just some of the things that go on in our minds that get in the way of these beautiful, deep relationships. He noticed that his clients come to him and expect him to almost surgically remove all the things that they want to get rid of. Their painful emotions, their habit patterns that don't serve them. And he said, rather than taking that away from them, he gives it back to them. And he said, puts it like this. He said, I teach them not to fight against these things, but to see the gift or the message in it. To see the gift or the message in the pain, the emotional pain, whatever might be going on in their lives, as an effect of consciousness. And so the cause is consciousness. So he realizes, just like we do, that if you just take away the symptoms, that you don't deal with the root cause, and it's all going to come back again. So one of his clients that came to him asked him to help her be less dependent. So what he did then is he asked her what difficulty she found in being dependent. Well, what is it about dependency that you don't like? And so she said, well, the bottom line was that she judged dependency as weakness and independence as strength. That's dualistic thinking. That's judgmental thinking. So he then offered her some words to help her discover the upside of dependence. The upside of dependence. Remember, we are inextricably connected with one another. So dependence is kind of built into it. So he said, don't you want to feel connected with people? Learn from them, get close, rely on their friendship, get advice from someone that you respect, be a part of a community where people support each other, find intimacy, or would you even like to find intimacy with someone who is very near and dear to your heart? And she said, yes, of course. And he said, well, that is dependency. That's the upside of dependency. But what she's worried, of course, is the downside of dependency. Things like neediness, loss of control, or submission. And so that's the fine line that we walk. It's important for us to look at our definitions of things and realize that there is beauty in a lot of different kinds of things. Dependency being one, and ultimately what we talk about is interdependency. Interdependency is a very healthy thing, where there's a give and there's a flow in both directions. It's a healthy sense of this thing called dependence. So it's important for us to face all of our stories, whether it's about dependence or whether it's about our stories that we don't have the ability to connect deeply with others, or whatever it is that we tell ourselves, or it's not safe because someone will take advantage of me. All of those stories need to be dealt with, and the myth of them blown apart in order for us to experience this thing called deep and genuine connection. So it's really looking at that murky thinking and getting online with the shifting currents that support us. A beautiful thing to remind ourselves throughout this whole process of the shift that's taking place is to repeat to ourselves and over again, God is right here where I am. God is right here where we all are. God is right here where we are. So it's not only a reminder of myself, but all of us. The divine is right where we are. Why is that so important? Because it's important to help us remember to let go of the limited thinking, let go of the lack thinking, let go of the divisive thinking, and instead move into the spirit of love, compassion, cooperation, and collaboration. Barbara Holmes, in her book called Race and the Cosmos, wrote, "Our unspoken fear has always been that our differences will finally erupt in violence, or catastrophe, so we avoid the very discussions that could bring us together. How many of you are avoiding having the discussions about racial injustice and white supremacy? I invite you to join us to face those issues head on. That's what our Social Justice Initiative ministry is doing. We have another one coming up on the fourth Sunday after service. This is a powerful time, and it's important that we harness this time to really, truly be the difference that we wish to see in our world. That we truly face the issues, and that we become those who are the solution-oriented beings on this planet. So I just invite all of us to turn within for a moment, accepting the gift of this moment, the possibility and potentiality of this infinite sea, this cosmic sea in which we live, move, and have our being, knowing that we are the light of the world. We are the very love of God in person. God is right here where we are as our very own being. And just allowing it to move into full expression in us, through us, and as us, as we genuinely connect with each other in love and compassion, being fully available to each other. Driving currents of change, the shift from survival consciousness to thriving consciousness. How good it is to know that we live, move, and have our being in this divine presence, that we are in a community that is committed to these high ideals of heaven on earth, a world that works for all. So I'm so grateful to be part of this amazing movement of truth. And I release this word into the universal law of mind, accepting its fulfillment right here and right now. And so let us say together, yes!
And so
it is.
So it is.
Thank you, my friends.